South Punjab likes to appoint maghdooms, or they like to appoint, leaders of different origins, for that matter. But I think people
It's more
have changed.
feudalistic in
Uh,
nature, yes.
yes, but I think I underestimated was that people have changed a lot, and they want to be represented in the National Assembly, Provincial Assembly, from a way, or from a perspective that a younger person needs to come in front and deliver what their needs are. I think we need to differentiate between how we tax the rich, how we tax the poor. South Punjab in itself is agri-based land. People tend to be, landlords, may it be on a smaller scale or a bigger scale. You have people cultivating cotton, wheat, corn, etc., etc. The problems related to the people of South Punjab are foreign to a lot of other
Yeah.
places. And I think someone who gets 40% share of the population, if they have their own secretariat, they will have their own problems related to, may it be agriculture, may it be related to electricity.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nauraiz Rana, and I'm an economist with the World Bank. I'll be hosting today's program on New Wave, in which we will be going over the political economy landscape of the country and how things are likely to shape and evolve, given that the new coalition government is always going to become operational. The formation and the foundations are being set. In addition to that, we will also kind of zoom into the challenges that South Punjab tends to face, has historically faced, and and continues to grapple with. The area is less developed than other parts of Pakistan, is more neglected than other parts of Pakistan, and to some degree continues to be marginalized in terms of resource allocation. And in order to join me for this discussion, I have a very special guest, and I'll begin by introducing Mr. Muhammad Usman Awaisi, who is a first time and a very recently elected member of National Assembly from the region of South Punjab. And a fun fact, he's also a very close friend. We go back to our undergraduate college days, where we went to the same university at the same time, and we both studied economics, post which Usman and I, we both actually started working with the same organization. We were working with the investment banking and capital markets unit of one of North America's, largest financial institutions. And on that note, I would really like to congratulate you, Usman. I'm really glad and happy for you win, and I would also like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, my introduction is also kind of a segue into my very first question. Like I mentioned, that you've recently won the member National Assembly seat from South Punjab on the PMLN ticket. And when we think about any politician from South Punjab, you don't really fit the bill. You think about the idea that comes to mind is a feudal landlord, the likes of, Makhdooms and the likes of Buzdars. But, like I mentioned, you have a different profile altogether. You went to a foreign university, you were working in North America, you were part of, the financial market, capital markets organizations. And then suddenly you make that shift. These are very different entities, very different worlds altogether. And now you are literally in the middle of South Punjab's politics, Pakistan's national politics. What were your aspirations? What drove you to make that shift? And now that you are here, now that you won, what are some of the causes that are close and dear to you, issues that you would like to raise at the platform that you've achieved?
First of all, thank you very much, Nauraiz, for hosting this call and having me as your guest, and also giving a very phenomenal introduction for myself. And
Of course, you deserve it.
I think the main thing that brought me back to Pakistan was the people of my constituency. I have always been very close to the people of my area. the thing that you need to understand about South Punjab is the customs over here are that people are so close to each other that even though I was all the way in Canada, I was still connected with all the voters, all the supporters. And one thing I guess you missed out mentioning was that my father has also been a part of politics since 1990s, and he has been part of Pakistan Muslim League Noon since then. So that definitely gives me an edge. But I think having that connection with my constituents back in Canada made me rethink every single time I had a conversation that, why do my people, or why do the people of South Punjab or Pakistan in general do not have the same set of things that we had back in Canada, or the time I spent in New York? Why can't my people, or why can't people of Pakistan have the same set of luxuries, same set of ease of life that people enjoy in North America? So I think that was the main driving force for me to come back. I definitely had a base in politics because of my family. I will not take that away from them because they definitely had a lot of hard work that they put in. So using that base, I think one thing that surprised me when I got back was that people have changed in a way that, how you were mentioning that South Punjab likes to appoint Maghdooms, or they like to appoint, leaders of different origins, for that matter. But I think people
It's more
have changed.
feudalistic in
Uh,
nature, yes.
yes, but I think what we or what I underestimated was that people have changed a lot, and they want to be represented in the National Assembly, Provincial Assembly, from a way, or from a perspective that a younger person needs to come in front and deliver what their needs are. And I think that definitely gave me a lot of edge over a lot of other contestants, in just not just in our constituency, but I think overall in South Punjab. That definitely gave me an edge. And I was surprised because people would stop me and they would tell me that, apart from the political history of my family, they would be like, we are so happy that someone who has come from abroad, who has left all those things and has come back to Pakistan to represent us. We want someone like you to be sitting in the parliament and representing us. So I think that was a shocker for me, but I think it helped me a lot in bagging, the younger generation definitely backed me a lot. The older generation obviously has more of a historical link with us, but the younger generation has increased in terms of votes, and they have stood behind me, and they have made sure that I win this election that started in 2024. So one aspiration was definitely to get these people similar kind of luxuries that we have in North America. Plus, I think Pakistan overall has a problem with how we deal with the rich and the poor. I think we need to differentiate between how we tax the rich, how we tax the poor. We need to definitely, because I know we have been going over with the IMF on different terms and conditions, and it's difficult. But when I actually went through the last IMF deal, I think they are also open to subsidizing. I know they are not open to subsidizing an overall subsidy in electric sector, or gas for that matter,
Yeah.
petroleum, but I think they are willing to subsidize the poor. So I think we need to work on that, where we can relieve the poor, because inflation in Pakistan has hit all-time highs. And trust me when I say this, and it's not exaggerated at all. It's very hard to live for the poor right now. And I will definitely make sure that I become that voice for the poor, and we bring in changes that help the poor by taxing the rich. I think that's also one of the things that kind of puts me in front in bringing the problems into the parliament.
Thank you, Usman. These are some very valid points, and you rightly mentioned, sharing the spotlight on what are the issues that South Punjab tends to grapple with, the life of people over there, and even broadly, the discrepancy, the imbalance, the inequality between the rich and the poor, and how we tend to tax people. These are some very prominent issues that need to be addressed as Pakistan, in any way, looks to circumvent the economic challenges that it has been dealing with. One key thing that I'll put out of your response is that you said that the people of Pakistan have changed, and you noticed that once you came back from North America. They are much more aware. Maybe it's courtesy social media, or in general, they find themselves much more educated or up to date with how the political landscape is shaping and what are happening. But have the politicians changed as well? And now let me elaborate upon that. PMLN, the party that you represent, has been in power both in center and in this province earlier as well. Not in 2018, but prior to that, and a lot of times before that as well. But despite all that, we see that not much, or not a magnanimous shift has happened in the landscape of South Punjab. Do you see that there's an ideological shift that needs to happen amongst the politicians and the political parties? Is there certain improvements that you would like to highlight? Is there a certain agenda that you would like to push forward, that is different from what has been done by PMLN in this region before?
So that definitely is a pressing issue for myself as well, which you have brought up. The issue of having autonomy for South Punjab. There has been work done. I would not say that there is, nothing has happened over the past 5 years or 10 years in terms of moving towards a newer province, namely South Punjab. To kind of give you a little bit background on that, or to the audience, we had a bill passed in 2022 that created an administrative South Punjab. It was backed by all the parties, PMLN, People's Party, PDI. And I think the reason why they have backed it is because over the period of multiple elections, all these different parties, including my own party, we have, acquired votes by raising this slogan that we are the ones who are going to give South Punjab the freedom that it needs. But I think eventually all the parties sat together in 2022 and the bill was passed. But the unfortunate part is that the process is super slow. The funding for creating the administrative hub in Multan or Bahawalpur, the process is pretty slow. I have not seen any development work being done towards that. Plus, I think the biggest gap right now that needs to be worked on is the fact that the province itself will have a certain amount of seats. It will definitely have a CM of itself, the chief secretary, et cetera, all the administrative posts as well. But we are still lacking behind in that process. And I think the problem has always been the fact that South Punjab never had well, we did have younger blood go into the parliament and speak up for this issue. But I think the problem that stops it from happening, and I'll bring you guys towards that problem, is that South Punjab always was divided in itself in two pieces as well. One is the Multan division, DG Khan division, and the other one is Bahawalpur division. So the requirement has always been to create two provinces from Punjab. So you would have Punjab by itself, you would have, let's call it Multan province, and let's call the third Bahawalpur province. And I think the fact that Bahawalpur and Multan need to be two different provinces, that's why people from all these divisions kind of lack that activity for the South Punjab province. Can you hear me, Nauraiz?
Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. No, you shed light on. Yeah, I think absolutely goes without saying that there's, yeah.
The video paused, so that's why I kind of paused, thinking that the video might have gotten stuck or something. But yeah, so South Punjab in itself needs to be further divided into two divisions. And I think when this whole thing was being put in place in the parliament, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz had the best option that they recommended. And that was to create, instead of creating Punjab and South Punjab, they put the bill forward to create Punjab, Multan, and Bahawalpur, so that the distribution of power can be divided into three different places. And I think that was one of the better bills. But obviously, I would still take something over nothing. Pakistan People's Party and PTI mainly backed the South Punjab province instead of Bahawalpur and Multan. So they tabled that bill, and thanks to our party, they didn't, just go against that bill. They went forward with South Punjab. And I think it's still, as I said earlier, it's still better than not having anything, because there are too many needs of South Punjab. We are approximately 40% of the population of Punjab in itself. And the land, if you ask me, it's, I think, over 50% of Punjab. So I think we do need that separate administrative unit for sure, but we also need our voices to be heard in the parliament in a manner that we have our own secretariat set up in either Bahawalpur or Multan.
Absolutely. I think like from all three, social, political, and economic rationale and perspective, it makes absolute sense, to have South Punjab as a separate province, which is easier to administer, where people have their own autonomy. There's a slight change, not a lot of change, but there's a slight change in cultures and cultural approaches as well. Then, the rural work tends to happen in South Punjab, while the central Punjab is more urban in nature. So there are changes which require different tailor-made solutions to address the problems that these different parts of Punjab tend to face.
I'll give you a few examples. Sorry, I'm cutting you on that. I'll give you a few examples of how it's different from, other places or the Upper Punjab. The thing is, South Punjab in itself is agri-based land. People tend to be, landlords, may it be on a smaller scale or a bigger scale. You have people cultivating cotton, wheat, corn, etc., etc. So the problems related to the people of South Punjab are foreign to a lot of other places. And I think someone who gets 40% share of the population, if they have their own secretariat, they will have their own problems related to, may it be agriculture, may it be related to electricity. For example, MEPCO is, I think, the largest electric company at this point in Pakistan. And the request to create Bahawalpur Electric Power Company, BEPCO, for that matter, has been in place for a long time. And I think we have an elephant in the shape of MEPCO to divide it into BEPCO. But I think it doesn't get prioritized as much, and that's part of the problem. That once we have our own kind of parliament in South Punjab, when we have our own secretariat over here, these kind of issues similar to BEPCO, creation of new districts, Ahmedpur, for example, is one of the I think population-wise one of the biggest tehsils if not the biggest, one of the biggest tehsils in Pakistan, but it fails to achieve the level of, being a district. Compared to many other districts, I can give you names of that are less populated, but because Ahmedpur is in South Punjab, the voice doesn't get heard. So when you have your own kind of people sitting in parliament, in your own parliament, I think creation of new districts, uh, putting power, giving power to the people by making this administrative change, I think will help the South Punjab people that have been suffering since, I think, 1947.
No, absolutely. And that a lot of people aren't aware of this, that my paternal side is from South Punjab too. Like I've lived in Rahimia Khan. I've been there and I've traveled through South Punjab. And I really need to emphasize that someone who's been there, who spent some time there, there's a huge disparity between, basic infrastructure that exists in South Punjab and that exists in central or upper Punjab. Like there's no comparison at all. You move 50 kilometers outside of central Punjab and the entire the landscape starts changing. It feels like it's a different province altogether. And then other bigger issues, issues related to health, education, employment itself. The employment dynamics in South Punjab are entirely different from other parts of Pakistan, and thus obviously they need some tailor-made solutions that fit them best. And moving on, I'd like to come back to you. So you represent the youth demographic of Pakistan. You are I'm sure you would be one of the youngest parliamentarians in the National Assembly, and there's a generational shift happening as well. Obviously, courtesy of people getting older and aging. We would see more and more of this happening, new faces coming into the parliament and into the helm of policy making in Pakistan. But yet, what we've inherited from the previous generation or the previous political leaders is intense polarization. There's huge disruptive rhetoric, one against the other. There's otherization, and we see that being distilled into the population, into the masses as well. The events of May 9, then the events that ensued afterwards, the role of the establishment, it has been, pitting one against the other. But what we need at this moment, I think, is the country to heal homogeneously, come together. There needs to be political stability. But it's far from that, especially how the elections happened. Prior to the elections, I mean, there's little argument then that one party, PMLN, I have to say it, was somewhat favored most by the establishment, not explicitly, but implicitly, because the other largest party, PTI, was oppressed. They were stripped of their electoral signal. Their leader was indicted in a number of cases weeks before the elections. He was put in jail. The party was dismantled. So obviously, because of the reasons, other parties had more to gain from it. And then the events of the election day, there was network disruption all over Pakistan. During the night, the active engagement completely halted. There was complete radio silence. No one knew how the counting is evolving, what is happening, which led to even more questions being raised on the legitimacy, the authenticity, and the credibility of the elections. And now people find that their mandate may have been stolen. And now, on that note, how do you think personally, how would you approach it? For example, to people in your constituency, I'm sure there are many who tend to favor other candidates, who voted for other candidates. How would you bridge the gap, at the local level? And then at the national level, how do you think PMLN is now forming a coalition government should pursue the entire fiasco? How should they go about creating this political stability that is so badly needed for any economic reform?
Your question, I think, is a very big question. I'll divide it into pieces of what I've understood. If I miss something, let me know. We'll talk about, I think the first thing and the most important thing that you have brought up is the legitimacy of elections 2024 and how it has turned out in terms of people voting, what were the results, et cetera, et cetera. So the first things first, in terms of legitimacy, I think This election was no different. I have, past experience of elections as well, where I was personally not myself taking part, but definitely I had, campaigned before for other candidates, and I can tell you there was no difference in terms of what has happened in the past and what has happened in this election. Should we change? I would agree with you. There are many things that need to be improved. The process itself is very outdated. The process needs to be updated. But when you talk about, the disruptions and everything, it has all happened in the past. Maybe at that point, when it has happened in the past, it was another party, that took advantage of that, right? And when it comes to this election, yes, there was network problems. I will give you my own example. I collected literally all the 301 polling station Form 45s myself. I did not send anyone. I collected all of the results myself. I compiled all of the results myself. And then I compared it with what the RO had submitted eventually, the next morning. So, and every candidate can do that, right? So you can only question the legitimacy if there is a actual discrepancy between what you have received and what was, published. Now, I have yet to see. I have seen, all of the noise on social media, but I have yet to see a an actual discrepancy where you have all these legitimate Form 45s compiled up for each constituency, and the result doesn't match, the actual result that was announced. I think just saying that I have won doesn't make you a parliamentarian. If there is a problem, I'm sure there must be some constituencies that actually have a problem. If those people of those constituency or those candidates have a problem, they should compile all the results, just like I did. In my case, I'm the winning candidate, right? But the losing candidate can also do the same. You have polling agents on each and every single polling station. They get the result authorized from the presiding officers. So no one can say that they did not get the result. They need to compile it. If there is a discrepancy, election tribunal will be formed very soon. They are the best place, in my opinion, to hear all these discrepancies, because I do see that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf independents have been going to, high court and filing in Supreme Court, but I don't think it's their mandate to listen to election discrepancies. The actual place, and I think they will get dismissed when they go to high court and Supreme Court. I think one of the cases did get dismissed as well. And again, there will be all this noise again that, look, we are not being heard. But the thing is, they need to go to the right place if, and it's a big if there is an actual discrepancy, right? And that would be election tribunal. Once that is formed, I would, request all the candidates that think there are discrepancies to actually go there and raise their voice. And then eventually ECP will take action about it, right? Once you're not heard in the election tribunal, then you can go to the higher courts, explaining why you were not heard, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there is a platform already provided. People can go there and get their voices heard. Just talking on social media and saying that, XYZ things have happened does not make someone win or does not make someone lose. I think you need to compile.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So it's not on that note, actually, sorry, I want to come in. So that's one thing, the how things panned out, whether, the noise that is, rightly being made or that is being falsified or that is all doldrums being, created and perpetuated by those who lost the elections. That's one thing. But I'm talking more from the view of the people who voted. Now, they don't understand the technicalities. What they see is that an environment before the elections was created that favored one party, right? And then on the day of elections and on the night of election, things circumscribed, which were to say were contrary to the ideal scenario as one would hope things to be. All of this has now created an environment where the elections are being questioned. And the more thing is that people are aggrieved. So my question is now people are aggrieved, they are not going to trust the institutions. They don't trust the ECB. They don't trust the judiciary. They don't trust the establishment, and maybe for the right reasons. My question is, how do you address their grievance? How would you get the country to move together? Because in the end, personally, I don't care whichever party is at the forefront as long as they're able to help Pakistan, prosper. I want to see my country prosper. That is my goal. How do
You
you?
you have answered the question yourself. Um, this whole noise and the fact that there's grievance in people, this all goes back down to where Pakistan is economically right now. The inflation in the country, the prices of day-to-day goods has skyrocketed. This anger, this grievance will automatically fade away if whichever government comes into power. I'm not saying it has to be my party that needs to come into power. Whichever government gets made, if they successfully resolve the inflation problems of Pakistan, I think the next election would be a totally different election. But that all depends on the fact that are we actually moving in the right direction in terms of solving the actual problem of Pakistan, which in my opinion at this point is economic issues of Pakistan. And I know for a fact that you, out of all the people, understand where Pakistan stands right now. And I think if we can make improvement, in the right direction economically, I think all of these grievances are going to go away. All of this anger is going to go away. So the party, I think PMLN and Pakistan People's Party are making a coalition government. I think we both parties, or all the 3-4 parties that have joined hands, I think they collectively need to resolve economic issues of Pakistan, and I think they will be the beneficiaries of this come next election if they successfully are able to tackle it. When it comes to grievance, I would also like to point out that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has won, I think, 93 seats nationally. So it's not that they were kicked out of the system. They were still able to bag 93 seats, which is a good
They're the
amount.
largest party.
Exactly. So they have won 93 seats. It doesn't happen like that. If there were huge discrepancies, I think you would have definitely not seen that number, on the boards. The fact that there are 93 seats, the fact that they will be able to form a government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I think in itself shows you that there were places where people of different constituencies voted for PTI-backed candidates, and they have won, right? But again, I think it is a human process where someone has lost. They tend to point fingers at the process. They tend to point fingers at the system. I think we need to, as people of Pakistan, we need to, as citizen myself, I think we need to accept the results of what has come forward, and we need to collectively, and I am talking about the people that probably didn't vote for me in my constituency, or similarly where people have won, where they had not given votes to that specific candidate that has won. I think they still need to come in under one umbrella and work towards the betterment of Pakistan. That's the way forward. Elections happen. the person who gets most votes wins. That definitely does not mean that the other party did not get any votes. There are many places where you'll probably see marginal differences where PMLN won by, I'm just giving you an example, 90,000 versus the other person who got 87,000. So there's still 87,000 people that think, there's another candidate. But that's the whole beauty of democracy and the beauty of how our elections happen. The majority wins. And I think 70 seats, on 70 seats, I think PMLN backed candidates won the majority. 50 something seats, Pakistan People's Party won the seats. And on 93 plus seats or 90 plus seats, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf backed candidates won. So I think we need to accept, all of the parties need to accept the results as they are, and move forward. I think we have already stalled a lot in terms of elections. I think we should be thankful that we have finally gone through that process, and the wheel of democracy has yet again started. And I think it will have a lot of positive impacts once the government starts taking over. One other thing that you mentioned, that a lot of places Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf won. I think what we need to understand about Pakistanis in general, excuse me, is that we tend to vote, and I'm including myself in it as well. We tend to vote emotionally. We tend to vote, if you look at the historical, elections, dating all the way back to 70s, you will see, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman won, or clean swept now Bangladesh. That was emotions. After that, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto in, I believe, 1977, he clean swept Pakistan People's Party, even though 9 or some odd parties were against one party, People's Party. But Pakistanis at that time voted emotionally, backing a candidate that was being, pushed back by 9 parties. Then again, after Ziaul Haq's tenure, during his martial law, you saw Benazir Bhutto come into power, backed emotionally because of the death of Shaheed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. And then again, you have 2008, where Benazir Bhutto got
was assassinated.
assassinated, and you saw Pakistan People's Party swept throughout Pakistan and came into power again. Something that was emotionally connected with the people of Pakistan. Then you see this narrative of building Naya Pakistan in 2018, where Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leader Imran Khan basically gave this narrative to the people, a positive, in this case, it's a positive emotion that will build something new, will create something new. We are tired of, the old customs, and people voted again emotionally. In this case, it was not backed by a assassination. It was backed by a positive emotion of moving towards something better. Then in 2024, which we have in front of us, I think people again voted emotionally, where they saw someone being backed, pushed to the wall, and I think they felt negatively emotionally charged. They put everything, all the problems aside, even though I think if we go back, just date back 2 years ago, I think the same people of Pakistan were super unhappy with what Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf was doing in government. Their 3 years or 4 years in power, I think Pakistani people were, tired of all the policies that were being made by the government. But then again, the shift happened, and all of it again emotionally backed, and that's why you see, in my opinion, the 93 seats. People have the power to select or elect anyone who they feel like electing, and the only thing that I wanted to point out was that our people tend to vote emotionally, and I think that's why you see that discrepancy. If they had voted rather with what the government did, I think the results would have been different.
I know you've talked about the emotional side of how people tend to vote in an election and elect a certain party. But on the flip side, the more the ideological or the more reasonable argument would be the capability and the technical skills of the elected counterparty to deliver. So on that note, I know you would have a bias and you might say yes, but I would still want to put you under the spot and ask you the question that do you think your party, PMLN, has the capability and the technical skills to deliver on Pakistan's problems that Pakistan has been facing with over the last many decades, and some problems that had been and have been created as a result of policies pushed by PML.
I think at this point, if you were to compare all the options that are in front of Pakistanis right now. You have Pakistan Tehreek Insaf that is being led by Gaur Ali Khan. You have Pakistan PMLN being led by, in this case, Nawaz Sharif, but the candidate for prime ministership is Shehbaz Sharif. Then you have People's Party, similar kind of dynamics, Asif Ali Zardari and Bilawal Bhutto. If you were to compare who can deliver at all, in my opinion, I think Pakistan, and I'm trying my best to talk unbiased, uh, uh, because I know I'm affiliated to a party, but I have a duty.
Mind you, what you say can be a headline in the newspapers tomorrow.
Um, as much as I have responsibility for my party, I think I also am responsible for the betterment of not just my constituents, but I think overall all of the Pakistanis. And I think, and that's why I'm telling you that it is what I'm saying is not biased based on my party. Just put these, options in front of you, and I think you yourself would also agree that. I think the best option we have at this moment is Pakistan Muslim League Noon. They have the experience that is being lacked at this point in People's Party. They have the leadership that is being lacked in the PTI-backed independent candidates. They don't have the leadership to sit and make decisions. I think the only party at this moment that has a decisive leadership is Pakistan Muslim League Noon. And as you said earlier, I think the most important part that everybody needs to understand right now is the fact that Pakistan needs to get back on the stable track. And I think Pakistan Muslim League Noon, with a strong leadership that can deliver, with a team that has past experience. You can differ on the fact that, did they make right decisions or wrong decisions, but they do have the experience. They do know how to solve the problems. And I hope whoever gets, elected by our party as the finance minister, or all the different ministries that we have in the parliament, I hope that they appoint people that have experience in solving those problems, that have experience in understanding the economic issues that we are facing. So again, all the fingers, in my opinion, are pointing towards Pakistan Muslim League Noon. May it be leadership, may it be past experience, may it be, people, again, the party that you will see with the most young candidates that have won is Pakistan Muslim League Noon. Even though I think this whole phenomena of youth coming in, all these coming in front is actually the idea is sold by Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, but I think the end result is with Pakistan Muslim League Noon. You will see more younger candidates being elected in our party, and I think that is very important because you have new ideas that will come with these new candidates that are young. They're aggressive in fixing these problems. They are motivated. Most of them are actually they have studied abroad. They have seen what life can be outside of Pakistan and how things can improve and how they should improve. So I think all fingers point towards one party, and that's Pakistan Muslim League Noon.
Oh, that honestly, that's a great and a very comprehensive response. And I would duly respect your point of view and your perspective on why you think that PMLN, regardless of your affiliation with the party, has the ability to deliver and on which fronts. So, yeah, thank you. On that note, thank you so much for your time. It was great having you here, and it was no doubtly a very insightful conversation. And you highlighted some things that are often not talked about and people are, unaware of, relating to both the local politics of South Punjab as well as Pakistan's national politics. So thank you for your time, Usman.
No, I think you deserve that appreciation because you chose someone from a very backward area, in my opinion. The voice of our people gets heard very less often. So I thank you for providing that opportunity to me to deliver, and talk about the problems that we face in our area, plus what I think we can do to improve Pakistan in general. So thank you, Nauraiz.
No, of course, the pleasure is all mine.